Hello, in this video I'll be going over my clothing and my camping equipment for my Northern Forest Canoe Trail through paddle. So this is going to focus on all the types of stuff that I use for my clothing and my cookware and my tent and sleep system, all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in learning more about what I'm doing for the canoe and the portage type stuff, I've got a second video that I'll be making that goes over that stuff in much more detail. Also stay tuned as well because I plan to make a post gear video coming up, so that way you can see what worked, what didn't, and I can kind of shed light upon all of this stuff. So definitely stay tuned for that.
All right, so this will be an overview on the equipment that I'm bringing. And I'm trying to pack quite light. I'm hoping to do single carry portages, ideally all the time, at least as often as I can. So I'm packing relatively light. And I wanted to kind of do a quick overview and then break it down into a little bit more detail on parts of the kit. So starting off over here, these are sort of my main camping essentials. There's a Big Agnes Copper Spur Ultralight 2. That's a Nemo Philo in that black stuff sack. That's a Thermarest Neo Air X Lite in the wide, the 25-inch wide one, with a custom inflator that I will show off later for blowing it up. In this Z-Packs medium-sized dry bag, that is a Western Mountaineering Alpenlight 20-degree sleeping bag. And in here is a Hyperlight Mountain Gear 8x8 DCF or Cuban fiber tarp. This small dry bag here with the tripod is my electronics. Little cook kit inside here, my water purification system. This is starting off with the first 5 days of food. That's in a Z-Packs large size dry bag. The very large pack, this is a 120-liter dry pack made by Seal Line. It's huge. It swallows all this stuff up, so I don't have to play Tetris whenever I'm packing up. Plenty of room for extra stuff in there, too. I only take up probably 2/3 of that. This is a Seal Line map case. More maps and the guidebooks in there. These small little bags I'll go into. They're a combination of basically like toiletries, first aid kit, mini repair kit, things of that nature. This slightly larger one is more of accessories, so multi-tool, sunglasses, and all that. This is my clothing in more detail. So fishing waders and boots. Towel, regular clothes bag, that's water gear, and then that one on the left there is my Arc'teryx warm jacket. These are the clothes that I plan on wearing most of the time when the weather is nice. I've got just a Ragged Mountain Guides baseball cap. This is an Arc'teryx Elaho. These are some Outdoor Research Ferrasi zip-offs. Astral TR1 mesh water shoes. For socks, I'm a very big fan of the Darn Tough socks, so most of the time for warmth, since it will be chilly, I'm just going to wear some ankle cut ones like those. Those are the hiking outdoor socks. And then for boxer shorts, my kind of tried and true go-to ones these days are the Outdoor Research Echo. Starting off with some cold, wet paddling kind of gear. The jacket here is an NRS Storm Surge. That's an Outdoor Research Seattle Sombrero rain hat, which is a lot more comfortable to be wearing all day than a hood, as long as it's not too windy. These are some very, very warm neoprene NRS titanium warm weather paddling gloves. Then this is an Arc'teryx Squamish windbreaker zip-up hoodie. Packs down really small in its own pocket. These are made by Black Diamond. The one you can see that one looks like a mitten. There's a little waterproof, windproof Pertex material that can roll over the fingers. So they're soft shells insulated with Primaloft. My warm jacket, this is an Arc'teryx Atom AR. Patagonia R1 top, heavyweight base layer pant. These are made by Eastern Mountain Sports. This is an Icebreaker merino wool t-shirt. I am going to bring a second pair of pants. I haven't done this in years on almost any kind of trip since most of it's backpacking, but these are pretty light. These are some Arc'teryx Gamma soft shell pants. Moving on over, I've got 2 extra pairs of low-cut Darn Tough socks, and that's one heavyweight pair of some Smartwool crew height ones, and a second pair of those Outdoor Research Echo boxers. The top ones up here, these are some Arc'teryx ultra lightweight tops, Patagonia Capilene ultralight bottoms. I am actually going to bring a pair of real fly fishing waders. This is the ultralight model made by Orvis. These are some Sims ultralight wading boots. They are designed to fit over these actual booties, so they are much larger than they would be if I was going to wear them just barefoot. So what I do have to make up for that, Orvis neoprene socks that are actually meant to be worn for wet wading. Next up, we have sort of the small random stuff sacks, which is kind of what I consider like tools and miscellaneous, which you see here, and then some other toiletries. So here I've got some Costa Tuna Alley polarized sunglasses, and that's a floating sunglasses lanyard. This is a little packable dry bag backpack. This will be really handy for times that I'm going to go into town and resupply. Don't want to lug that huge dry bag with me, but I don't want to carry everything in my hands. A bug net, because let's face it, there will be bugs. This is a little travel wallet that I like to have. Small, light. I don't keep it in a pocket or anything, only in town. This is a Leatherman Charge Titanium TI. Awesome little multi-tool, has everything I need on it. Some extra cordage just for guying stuff out. Moving on over here, this is what I consider like a little miscellaneous toiletries bag. All of these stuff sacks, by the way, are Z-Packs stuff sacks. They're a dynamic composite fabric, ultra light, and practically waterproof. Not submergible, but they keep things really dry. So up here, these are the tubes brand. They have a little lock, so it's less likely to explode, which is pretty cool. So yeah, this is actually sunscreen, 50 SPF. I don't mess around. I'd burn very easy. I expect that to happen at some point. So this is an actual like aloe sunburn cream. And I have resupplies of all this stuff packed into my mail drops. Some UPF 50 lip balm. I don't usually like wet lip balm, but I do not want sunburned lips. This is some Afterbite for all the bug bites that I will have, / bee stings. Some floss. I never, ever bring deodorant. I will not be using that every day. I figure because weight is not as critical on this trip and I'll be in towns more often, maybe I will use that a couple times this trip. Who knows? It's super light. If I don't, no big deal. And then I don't mess around with the bugs either. This is double bagged, 100% DEET men's stuff. I hate bugs. I hate ticks. And then this is the last of sort of my miscellaneous stuff. So again, in another one of those stuff sacks. I do have some medications that I need to take, so they're all divvied out into these bags right here. This is one of those little toothbrush type things. It's pretty handy. It has the little tube of toothpaste down here on the actual bottom, which is just neat. Keeps it all together, so it's less likely to lose it. This is a small little first aid / repair kit. Actually, this is the repair kit. This is the first aid. A lot of little miscellaneous things. If anybody's interested, I can actually go down what's in there without taking it all apart. But there's some patches. There are zip ties, little mini one-time use super glues, stuff of that nature. And then that's my first aid kit. It has pretty generic stuff in it. Benadryl for bee stings, pain medication in case something hurts. There are some anti-diarrheals in there, just in case. This trip's not a big deal because it's not that hard to stay hydrated with water everywhere, but just in case, things of that nature, some Band-Aids and stuff too. This is a cloth tape. This stuff is super duper handy for blisters. It'll even last multiple washings. So I've used this before. It works really well. You just throw it right over the blister and it sticks to the skin, adheres really well. You barely feel that it's there, and it helps prevent those blisters from getting worse. All right, so moving on to my electronics bag. So I have these inner ear monitors by Shure, and I also did upgrade the cable to get the one that has the microphone into the cable so I can actually make phone calls from it too. This is a Z-Packs dry bag that I keep everything in. Garmin InReach, little storage bag. This is the tripod and mic setup for actually recording videos, which the phone that I record on is what I've got in my hand right now, which is a brand new Samsung S21 Ultra. It uses USB-C, so this is just a C to 3.5 millimeter adapter, which I need to use to get those headphones to plug in, since the newer phones don't have the headphone port. A slew of little cables. This is a USB to USB mini for recharging the Garmin InReach. This is a 100-watt wall charger. It's actually kind of heavy. It's 5 ounces by itself, but the beauty of that is with this 100-watt charger, this 100-watt C2C cable, and this Zender super tank, you can actually charge that 27,000 milliamp hour battery, and I kid you not, under 2 hours from a standard wall plug using this and this and this. And that 27,000 milliamp of hour, even if you get 75% of that through charging, you're talking a lot of use. And all you have to do is go to a restaurant, ask for a plug, and plug it in and hang out for a little bit, and then you have another week's worth of power. Really, really incredible technology, so that's pretty wild. And then this is USB-C to USB, which just gives me more options. This battery bank right here is really pretty wild because it has a 100-watt output, so you can fast charge pretty much any electronic on the market, including laptops and tablets and stuff, which is wild. It's nice because it gives you the percentage of battery. And this also has power charge through. So you can see there's 2 USB and 2 USB-C ports. And you can use these to charge this battery and devices at the same time. So if I was to take these chargers, I can plug the wall charger in with a USB-C to this, plug it into one of the top 2 ports. Now it's going to charge this battery bank. And then I can plug in other things like my phone into one of these Cs, and this other USB I can charge the Garmin InReach or my headlamp, which is a Nightcore NU25. And I can charge all of them at the same time, every single device, including the battery, which is just pretty wild because that makes it so I can top stuff off anytime I'm in town. So this is my do-it-yourself NeoAir pad inflator that is actually designed to fit on the new version of the one-way valves that the X-Lights have. So how it works is really basic. This is actually the top of a sprinkles can. I needed basically something that could accommodate that kind of like 1-inch diameter opening there, but also was thin enough that the top of the plastic on the inside to the top of this here was very thin to be able to get a good seal. Otherwise it doesn't hold the trash bag in place. So I can make a video on this if people are interested in how to actually make one, but this thing works really well. So this is just a rubber gasket inside there that's been kind of trimmed down to fit onto this valve. And so the way this actually works is it just goes onto the end here like so. And then what you do is you would close this. So now it's one way. Make sure that the valve is open, which it is. And then you take this basically back here, this big trash bag, and you can poof up a bunch of air into it and just hug it into there, and it inflates the pad. It saves a lot of breath. It keeps moisture from getting into your sleeping pad, so it's less likely to grow mildew, and it's just a lot easier. All right, this is my water filtration setup. So I keep everything stored in this platypus bag. This actually came with the platypus gravity filter, and it's an actual great little bag because it's just the right size and dress has from that mesh. So I've used a lot of different filters over the years, the Sawyer Squeeze for most of my through hikes, but I've fallen in love with the Be-Free. The flow rate is so much faster. And then I have this sort of a Frankenstein kit over here that uses the same filter. So what I do is I unscrew the blue filter and that little plastic sport cap off the top. This screws into that. This has a quick release, but I almost never take that off. This goes to like an IV style clamp to stop flow of water if you don't want it to. And then this quick connect here can fit into this fitting here. So the way that this works is this is a standard drinking bladder mouthpiece, but I have it on a quick disconnect here. So then this piece can connect to that piece. And then I have also an aftermarket, sort of a no-name brand off of Amazon, on-off valve. So what I can do is I can use this almost as a sink dispenser in camp. And then this is a 4-liter clean platypus bladder. And then this is part of the actual Cat 9 gravity system itself. So it has the same threading that fits that filter, a little carry handle here. And then I have this piece of thin cord that goes up to just a very inexpensive, cheap plastic carabiner here. So the way that I can use this in camp is I scoop the water up from a stream or from a lake in this, and I then connect the filter itself, and I'll set this up, of course, to show you right here. And I plug this in, connect this fitting into this fitting, and then I hang this up by removing the carabiner, putting it over a branch or a nail at a shelter or something, and let it hang. Gravity filters just do all the work for you. They're fantastic. So then I go setting up my tent, getting out my sleeping bag, all that kind of stuff. And by the time I'm done with all that, I've got a ton, 3 liters up to, of clean water ready to go. So it's great. Okay, here we are with it all set up. So I've just hung it up off of this hinge, just as an example. So what I'll usually do is I'll take that storage bag, because that can get wet, and I'll put the other bottle, and if you look, that's the little sport cap down there so I don't lose it. Up at the top here, I like to actually put the mouthpiece on here so I can find it, because when this bag's actually hanging up in camp with the clean water in it, it's great just to be able to drink out of that real fast. I leave that on, and then when I'm going to brush my teeth or fill up my cup or something, I just pop that off and use it like a sink. But so anyway, goes in, that's the dirty bladder up there, goes in through down the line. If I need to stop the flow for some reason, I can just close that off, and it shuts the water flow off in case all the clean water, all the dirty water isn't done yet. And that goes down to this quick disconnect with the on-off, which flows. There's a magnet on that. When I'm backpacking, I put the other side of the magnet on my sternum strap in my backpack. So I downsize this clean bladder to like a 2-liter. And that way I use a very similar setup, and that bite valve is actually my drinking hydration thing. So I'll probably take the magnet off before the trip just so I don't lose it. But then it goes down to this. And so when all's said and done and it's time to flip it, you can take this, close that, take this, sorry about that, disconnect it. You can leave everything else already hanging up how it is. Just hang that up. This, of course, would be full of water. And then whenever I need actual water in camp, I can take this and dispense it and stop it. And I'll usually hang this up through the top like so, just to help the seals in there. They eventually do leak. I have to replace those probably once a year because they do start to leak. But if you let gravity help you out like that, it's less likely to go. All right, moving on to cookware. So this is an Evernew pot set. It's about a 1,300 milliliter pot. It does have a non-stick coating. So I also have this lid, which is a bit of a frying pan. This is a Snow Peak Titanium 650, maybe 600, whatever the smaller size is. This spork here deserves a couple moments of attention. So this particular spork is a Snow Peak spork that has had the little end here. Normally they come with a little hole in the center so you can connect it to something. But this spork has been on all my adventures and even some of my father's adventures. So he thru-hiked the Appalachian Trail in 2007, and he brought that along. I thru-hiked that in 2014, and that's what I brought. That spork's been on all 4 of my long trail thru-hikes, both my New England Scenic Trail thru-hikes, the Cohosh Trail, and I also brought that recently out to do the Superior Hiking Trail, the Kekakabic, and the Border Route Trail in Minnesota. So that thing has been everywhere with me. Super sentimental value. I really hope I don't lose it. This is a Z-Pack's little stove bag with a backup Bic lighter. I'm planning on bringing the pot support just because I have spilled entire pots of food before and it weighs almost nothing. So this is an MSR Pocket Rocket Deluxe. It does have the little self-start piezo on the side here. That works quite well. The lighter's just for backup. And lastly, I've got this little cleaning kit just with a small sponge, a scrubber that's solid on one side and a little soft on the other side, and a small little thing of Dr. Bronner soap.
All right, that's it. That's everything that I'm planning on using for my clothing and my camping equipment. Also, don't forget, I plan on making a post-trip gear video that goes over everything that worked great, that didn't, things that I wouldn't have brought, things that I wish that I did bring. So stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching.